Good morning, Diana. Welcome to our second session of our Community Day. We welcome Diana Calver-Hall from Stanford Medicine to talk about brain health.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I really hope that the resources and information I'll be sharing today will be helpful for you. Um, and feel free to turn on your camera, leave it off, however you prefer. So I'll start introducing myself. And what I do. So I work at the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center in Stanford. And what we do is we basically our number one goal is try to research Alzheimer's and other sorts of dementias to eradicate it and stop it from happening in the first place. So that is our mission. That's our goal. Um, I do work out in the community, so I go out to underserved populations, community. That could be Latinx, veterans, Black, African American, Asian, and all these other populations that are underserved. I focus on providing these sort of educational presentations and resources for them so that they have more access to resources and better access to healthcare. So I'll start sharing my screen so we can start the presentation.
About this most recent trip, the trip before to Guatemala, I really wanted.
All right. So yeah, today we'll be talking about healthy brain aging, and I'll be introducing a little bit about what the Stanford ADRC is. We'll go over some dementia symptoms. We'll overview dementia overall. And then we're also going to talk about dementia in I made this for specifically for Latinx and Hispanic communities, but I emphasized that it's not just about them, it's also about other underserved populations. So that could be anyone from veterans to, like I said, Black, African American, Asian, etc. Then we'll go on to how to engage in healthy brain aging. And finally, I'll be presenting some of the research opportunities for you guys. So give me one quick second. Trying to find my outline for today. Give me one second, so sorry. All right, I'm back. So what is the Stanford ADRC? So ADRC stands for Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, and we are supported by the National Institute of Health, sorry. What this means is that they help us with not just funding, but resources so that we are able to collaborate with other centers. There are over 30 centers in the US, and we all collaborate for the same purpose. We all try to research Alzheimer's to better understand what are the risk factors for it so that we can stop it from happening. And not just Alzheimer's, but also related memory conditions. And that includes Parkinson's, Lewy body disease. There are these other dementia diseases that aren't as common as Alzheimer's, but we also research those. So we have two main goals. First is to turn our research progress into better ways to diagnose and care for those with Alzheimer's and other related memory conditions, and also to discover new treatments and for dementia, and also to discover prevention methods for dementia. And ignore this. So why is this important? Dementia is the sixth leading cause of death in the US and ranks fifth among individuals who are older than 65. And right now, with the rapid rise of the US population over 65 and over, the prevalence of developing dementia is expected to almost double to 8.4 million by 2030. Right now, there are around 6 million people with dementia. So that's why this is very important. So what is dementia? Dementia is a syndrome. So think about it as an umbrella term. So under the umbrella, there are these other sorts of diseases that cause the dementia. And I'll explain those in a little bit. Dementia is an impairment and affects at least two domains in the brain. So it could affect memory, could affect language, or it could also affect visual, spatial, and or executive skills. And I'll be presenting to you a little bit about what that could be. So first, it could affect memory, right? So forgetfulness. And the key part of this is that forgetfulness, especially about recent events. So repeatedly forgetting appointments, doctor's appointments, name of friends, name of family members, or recently learned information. Also with language, struggling to find words or follow a conversation. Usually the person with dementia won't really notice, but others around them. So if you're conversing with someone who has some sort of neurological condition, they might repeat the sentences or repeat the questions or, scramble their words and you're not really able to understand what they're saying. They may also have impairments with visual, spatial, and or executive skills, so difficulty judging distances and distinguishing colors and shapes. So if someone is going down the stairs and they don't really judge the space very well and they end up falling. They're not really judging the distances. Or they take, for instance, the remote control as if it was the telephone. And start talking as if they were talking to someone. So it could also be presented as that. They could also have confusion and disorientation. So an example of this could be, getting lost at their house, at their own home. They may also have impairment judgment and decision making. So that could be presented as, let's say, for instance, if it was raining outside, and a person with dementia might not really judge well the situation, and they might go out in beach clothes, with a shorts and a hat. That wouldn't make so much sense. They may also have personality and mood changes. So maybe someone who gets very angry and very annoyed, rapidly, something that was not usual of them. They may also have a loss in motor skills. So trying to button up a shirt, something as simple as that, something that they've been doing for their whole life, it's not so easy anymore. Also wandering and agitation, and even having hallucinations and delusions, so thinking that someone is in their house to rob them, or they're being chased by someone. These sort of hallucinations and delusions can also be presented with someone with dementia. And this is very important to understand because a lot of people may say, oh, this person is crazy. Someone with dementia, he's crazy or they're crazy. They think that someone's going to go rob them or kidnap them. When in reality, it's much more complex than that. It's more complicated. They are having these neurological impairments that are causing the hallucinations. So the number one cause for dementia is Alzheimer's disease. So like I mentioned before, think of dementia as this umbrella term. So dementia is the umbrella, and under the umbrella, there are these other diseases that cause dementia. So Alzheimer's is the number one. And why does this happen? It happens because there are these proteins, this yellow, if you can see them, tau tangles, and amyloid proteins in the brain that are not supposed to be there. So once they are presented there, they do not allow for a clear communication between brain areas. And throughout time, it deteriorates the brain. It starts killing those neurons. So the brain cannot communicate clearly anymore. So that's the main cause. And I want to show you how this would look like in real life. So right here on the left, you see these are called the gyri. So these folds in the brain are super skinny. They're super skinny, which means that the neurons there aren't communicating clearly anymore. They were dying throughout time. So this part of the brain isn't functioning well. Compared to this right, this brain on the right, you see how the gyri, the folds are very, very full and very, they look healthy and they look full. And this indicates that the neurons and this part of the brain was not deteriorated. And this photo of the brain is as if I was looking this way. So this would be the forehead, and this would be the back of the brain. And this is very important to notice because you can see how the front part of the brain, which is the part that is in charge of reasoning, of memory, of so many aspects of how we live our daily lives, that's the part that gets deteriorated. So that's really important to notice. And this is how it would look like on a PET scan. A PET scan is this procedure where they inject a special liquid that will allow us to see these colors in your brain and see which areas are activated. So they'll inject this special liquid and they'll put you in a huge machine to take pictures of your brain. So right here on the left, this is a picture of a brain with someone with dementia. You see all these red and yellow areas. That means that the proteins that we talked before, the proteins that cause the dementia, they're presented here. Compare to over here. You see how they're not as presented as on the left. So the number 2 cause for dementia. The number 2 cause is vascular dementia, and that just simply translates to strokes in the brain. So why does this happen? This happened because there was probably a rupture of the artery. Sorry, I forgot the word. There was probably a rupture of the artery, or there was, probably you had a high cholesterol level and there was fats in your arteries that were not supposed to be there and blocks the flow of the blood. So that it's what causes strokes in the brain. Other causes for dementia is Parkinson's disease. Parkinson is also a type of dementia. Lewy body disease is also a type of dementia. Frontotemporal dementia or Pick's disease. Huntington's disease, or having a severe head injury. I don't know if you've known of or heard of someone who was, really young and got into a car accident and, they developed dementia due to the severe head injury they had during the car accident. And not just during car accidents, but this could be anything, So yeah, it could happen at any point in time, at any point in life. And these are the other causes. So who's at risk? In reality, as people age, the likelihood of developing dementia increases. But this does not mean that dementia is a normal component of aging, because it is not. Okay, we have this misconception of, oh, okay, as we grow older, I'm going to develop dementia, when the case is that should not be the case. So I would like to talk a little bit about why underserved populations are more prone to develop dementia. And there are different causes. First is low educational attainment, meaning that they probably didn't go to school as much because of access. It's very complicated. There could be so many other reasons, but this in turn causes high mortality, more diabetes prevalence, and also language barriers. They may also have cultural influences, such as a poor diet, a sedentary life, or the stigma. People might not even want to share that they are starting to forget things, or that they're, not okay anymore because of what they might think of them. They may also have people who are underserved, from underserved populations. They also have more prevalence or more cases to cardiovascular and metabolic syndromes. So having high bad cholesterol, having hypertension, they are more prone to developing diabetes, strokes, or having obesity. And also access to healthcare. They may have low socioeconomic status, and because they don't really have the money and the access to pay a doctor. Healthcare in the US is just ridiculous. It's really expensive. This can also make people more prone to developing dementia and not treating it at early stages. Genetics is also a part of it's also a risk of developing dementia. One thing that I do want to emphasize here is that having this gene, the APOE gene, or any other variant, does not mean that you will develop dementia. Meaning, if your close relatives, if your parents, if your grandparents, if someone in your family has dementia, that does not mean that you are going to develop it. There are cases where, the parents may have dementia, but the child, or they may not have dementia, and vice versa. The parents may not have dementia, but it ends up that the child ends up developing dementia, and we'll see why. And there is no potential cure, unfortunately. That's what centers like ours are trying to do and innovate and try to discover treatments and better care for people with dementia to see how to prevent it in the first place. But what we could do is we could promote and engage in healthy brain aging. So what is this? This means promoting a healthy heart-brain connection. Now, why is this? As you know, the heart pumps blood to all of your body, all of your organs. And, your brain, a huge vital organ, gets a lot of that blood. That blood includes nutrients and oxygen that the brain needs so that it can function well. If we do not have a healthy connection between the heart and the brain, what could this possibly do? You could have a blockage in arteries. You could have a rupture of your arteries. So the blood is not getting to the brain as it should, and it won't function as well. So it could cause vascular dementia, strokes in the brain, which could cause dementia. So it's all like a chain. So in order to do this, what can we do? We can change our lifestyle behaviors. In order to avoid the blockages of the arteries or the rupture of them, we can try and engage in physical exercise, have a healthier diet. And we'll go into that diet in a little bit. But we can also engage in social activities, going to community centers, going to just simply speaking, conversing with your family members or your friends. That is so vital for our brain to keep functioning and keep working as it should. It might not seem very relevant, but it is. Also, trying to limit your smoking habits and try to limit your alcohol use is very important to preventing dementia. Some of the foods that I would like to share with you is and there are a lot, but I wanted to share these two diets. So there is the Mediterranean diet and also the DASH diet. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. And I wanted to include this one because, as we saw before, hypertension is also linked to developing dementia. So this is also very helpful to preventing the development of dementia. So what does this include? You know, obviously lots of fruits and vegetables. And instead of, you know, if you're going to cook pasta, instead of cooking your spaghetti with refined flour, with the refined spaghetti, you could replace it with whole grain spaghetti. And try to replace your breads and rice with whole grain type of food. You can also try and switch with a chicken if you can, or fish. And instead of using canola oil or those type of oils that aren't as healthy, you can try and replace for olive oil if it's accessible to you, obviously. Also trying to incorporate lots of nuts are very, very good to your health. Now, why is this? All these foods have healthy fats that your brain needs. So there are the unhealthy fats, and there are the healthy fats. So your brain also needs fatty substances so that it can keep working. And one of the foods that have this specifically is omega-3. So omega-3 is a superstar of the brain, and you can find this in sardines and chia seeds. This is tuna right here. You can find it in tofu or salmon. You know, I understand some of these might be, you know, salmon is pricey. So really try what you can. And just trying to incorporate omega-3 into your diet is really good for your brain. What other things can we do to try and help this prevention of dementia and try to bring awareness to it? You can join a research study, not this one, not specifically this one, but you could join any research study that you like. I can share a little bit about the study that we're doing. This is a no-cost opportunity. You can be part of the scientific community to find a cure for dementia. We have conferences that you can attend to learn more about what discoveries have we made so far. And you can also receive compensation of $100 each day if you receive Medi-Cal. Each day of participation, I wanted to add. You can also get compensation for certain procedures, and I'll share those in a second. You also receive your medical test, and you are also part of the brain health newsletter that we have. So how can you contribute? If you are 65 and over and do not have a memory condition, a neurological condition, that could be any sort of dementia, Alzheimer's, mild cognitive impairment, Parkinson's disease. You know, if you don't have any of these, you can participate if you're 65 and over. But if you do have some sort of condition, or you know someone that has some sort of condition, you can participate regardless of age. And you can share this with your friends, with your family members, if you know someone that could benefit from this and would also like to
क्या
participate.
problem है शनो? Some problem.
Now, this study is called the Healthy Brain Study, and this is an observational study. So, meaning that we do not do clinical trials. We will not give you medicine to test out. It's simply observational and longitudinal, which means that we'll follow you throughout time to see how you're doing. And some of the procedures are, firstly, we'll do a neurological exam. We'll do some testing and questionnaires. And there's also MRI and PET scans involved. So these are procedures that will help us take like a picture of your brain. There is also genetic testing. There is also a lumbar puncture involved, and this is the procedure where one lies on their side or sitting down, and the doctor will go in and take cerebrospinal fluid from your back Now, these are optional. I want to emphasize. A lot of people get scared when they hear some of these procedures. So I want to emphasize these are voluntary. They're completely voluntary. We also do blood work, and there is also a skin biopsy involved. So this one is done on your leg, and it's the size of a lentil. Like, it's pretty small. And we use low anesthesia, so that you don't feel anything throughout the procedure. And you won't feel a thing. And we also follow you to see how well you're doing, if it's bothering you, so that we can take care of you. We also do stool and urine samples. And you do get compensation for certain procedures. For instance, you get compensation for the MRI and the PET scan. You also get compensation for the lumbar puncture, and you also get compensation for the skin biopsy. So how long? Testing involves around 3 to 4 days in a whole year. So it also depends to what you agree or consent on doing, what procedures you do. So the less procedures, obviously there's less time involved, but throughout a year, we'll see you in probably, one time in January, again in I don't know, April, and again in December, for instance. So they're not consecutive. We'll see you throughout that whole year to see how you're doing. And yeah, like I said, all of them are voluntary. Now, it's very important to emphasize here that this does not mean that we'll replace your primary physician. We are just a research center. We cannot diagnose you and treat you for any condition that you have. So that's why if we find something, if we maybe see a discrepancy, we'll definitely direct you to your primary physician so that you can take care of yourself. And we'll always prioritize your health overall. So for instance, if you are taking blood thinners and you consent to doing, I don't know, the lumbar puncture or the skin biopsy, even if you consent, you may not even be eligible because there could be a risk of bleed. So that's what I mean by, maybe if you're not eligible, we are going to prioritize your health, and we will not conduct the procedures that will endanger your health. And this is my contact information, and this is a QR code to fill out a survey. If you're interested in participating, feel free to scan it. I can also send it in the chat. If you're interested in participating or want to learn more, feel free to contact me. Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Diana, you said you were going to share other resources too. That'd be great for them.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll stop sharing and I'll send the links on the chat. So here at Stanford, and I'm sure there are many, many more resources. But for now, let me share these with you. So this is the Stanford Palliative Care, and they are amazing. They have they have medical care for those with serious illnesses, and they also have services for caregivers. So you could also see some educational videos on the Stanford Alzheimer's Disease Research Center website, which is where I work. You can also, I'll share the Older Adult and Family Center too. There is also a geriatric education center. And all of them have their contact information on the website. So feel free to, check those out if they're of interest for you. Yeah. Any questions?
Well, thank
Oh,
you so much, Diana. Thank you for all the resources on the chat.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tina. I'll also share the link to the survey in case you're interested in filling it out. Yeah.
And this is all on
Thank you.
chat you're sharing.
Yes, everything is in the chat. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me or call me. Yeah, I'm here to assist. Thanks,
Thank you so
Tina.
much.